It has been 1 year of me uploading weekly YouTube videos. Maybe not consistently every week, but I tried to get one out every week. Sometimes we didn't get one out, sometimes got more than one out just to kind of make up for it. I'm pretty sure I've got 60 some videos that went out in the last year. And I don't know, this is kind of a video about where that ended up, because I put quite a bit of effort into it. We've had the race car, we've had the tube chassis build, we had another whole build with the 50 coupe that came through that I wasn't planning on at the time when I started this. Also got the 76 F250, wasn't planning on that one showing up. There's been quite a few videos about that, just because, when you buy a project that doesn't run or drive, there's a lot of stuff to fix on that and get it going. And now we've actually put, I think, around 800 or 900 miles on that truck now since I got it. And still got some work to do on it. In fact, just picked up a transmission yesterday for it. So we'll be doing an overdrive swap on that at some point in the future here, hopefully pretty soon. It'll be a real nice upgrade for that truck. So I was just talking about the tube frame chassis, because that was kind of what really started this a year ago. And I was hoping to drive it this year at an event that happened a month ago, so obviously two other builds kind of coming into the picture really kind of put the tube frame build on a back burner for a little while. And we made a lot of progress early on, but now we're kind of starting to get to the point where, man, there needs to be just a lot of money in parts to kind of really start making this thing come together a lot more. And once the body's on and the roll cage is done, all that stuff, then there's all the body work, because I want to wide body this Cutlass, and it's going to be a long process. So maybe the goal is drive it next year. Maybe we drive it without a body. If I can get it far enough along where maybe it fires up, I just drive it around as an open chassis like a cart. I'd rather have the roll cage and stuff done. I'm just not sure how I could get the body on, do the roll cage, and then pull the body off without it getting permanently tweaked. I'd say probably the big goal was to get monetized when I started this little endeavor, and I did accomplish that actually fairly quickly. So I started doing the videos mid-October, which is about what it is right now, or towards the end of October, and the second week of December I got monetized. Weirdly enough, that is solely thanks to a video I almost didn't post. And that was the any engine to any transmission video. I think it's over 90 some thousand views now. And it was really one that was just trying to show that, as long as the crankshaft and input shaft are lined up, doesn't matter where the transmission is, what the transmission is, you just got to get everything being able to bolt up and be lined up. And that you can really do that, put any transmission to any engine. And that one got a lot of comments, especially a lot of people making dumb jokes like, okay, put a freaking 12-speed behind a Briggs & Stratton, or dumb stuff like that. And it's well, technically you could. But anyway, that video right off the bat just took off for whatever reason, and I put almost no effort into the thumbnail or anything on that video, and it just happened to hit. I put a lot more effort into other videos, and they haven't done anywhere close to as good, and that's just seems to be kind of how it happens. And I haven't really struck upon anything else that has done quite that well, but it was enough to get me over the limit to get monetized. So I suppose the next question is, how much money have I made? Well, I've probably made let's see, I just looked at the other day. I think I made $573 or something like that so far. So basically 2/3 of what the camera that's been filming all of this cost me to buy used. And I've been doing YouTube videos with this camera for about 3 years now. So yeah, it's not making money by any means, by anything that I could pretend is anything other than a hobby at this point in time. Like I'd have to, I think my monthly income's between $30 and $40 a month, so like $1 a day. You know, $1.20 a day at best, kind of average. And you know, I mean, it's not nothing. It's something. Kind of happy about that. But you know, if I wanted it to be something that became a full-time job kind of a thing, I'd have to have probably 200 times the viewership and subscribers in order to make that happen. And even if I did, I don't know if I want this to be my full-time job. It'd be cool, but it'd also be, you know, the way I'm doing it is a very expensive way to be doing it. I don't think that there's any way I can make these YouTube videos pay for builds. I don't think that's the case. Best case scenario is maybe I could do a build kind of like the 76 F250, where you know I'm doing stuff along the way, and literally just I've got that at a price point where the fact that I made it run and I'm making it nice driving down the road, it's going to be worth more than I have put into it, I hope. You know, if and when the time comes to sell it, kind of a thing. And that's definitely never going to be the case for this thing, or that one for sure. And just the race cars, there's just no way. There's absolutely no way. So it's, you know, I wouldn't recommend or even dream of thinking that building cars is a way to make money on YouTube. But I'm looking at this as more of a long-term thing, because while, you know, $1 something a day sure isn't much. I mean, it's not buying anything these days. I'm looking at it as, you know what, that you know, $1 something a day added up over maybe the next 15-20 years, especially because I have a handful of videos that kind of have just the little slow continuous upward trend. Those ones, I think, the longer term they go, the better they're going to get, unless, you know, something drastically changes with the way they've been tracking, especially videos that are a few years old now and they're still tracking up, where every month they get a few more views than they did the month before, kind of a thing. You know, all that's going to add up over a long term. And the way I see it is, even if I decided I'm not doing any more videos, you know, if that viewership continues, like, the monetization's going to hold, and it's going to keep adding up over time, even if I'm doing nothing with it. And, you know, again, I'm not expecting to be anything life-changing, but hey, it's something, and that's nice. So what's the plan going forward? I don't think I'm going to be as committed to trying to get a video up every week as I have been, because it just, there's a lot of work to go into a lot of this stuff. And in the last year, like I said, we've picked up a couple more projects. I'm a dad now, so that takes a lot of my time. Like, I'm not able to work on a lot of this stuff during the week anymore, because you know, I'm picking my little boy up from daycare and we're hanging out for a couple hours till mom gets home, and then at that point I need to spend time with my wife and hang out as a family, kind of a thing. So I'm just not wrenching on stuff for an hour or two every day like I have been in the past. So stuff happens a little slower, and that's certainly played into what's taking so long on the tube chassis. However, we do have to remember that I have put in, I think, that 50 coupe, I've got 215 hours into on that build, and I mean, that one went fairly quick, not quite as quick as I was hoping, but I mean, you think about how long 215 hours is over a 40-hour work week kind of a thing. Like, it's a couple months of work that I got put in while still working a full-time job, and you know, a lot of that I tried to get done before I became a dad, and you know, a lot of it had to happen afterwards, but that took time away from other things, and I'm just not willing to put so much time and effort into this that it's taken away from my family life, and it shouldn't. And I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't even recommend that for anybody else. So like, there's what's important, and then there's this stuff that's fun and hobby and playing. And believe me, I need to do this stuff because it's part of who I am, and it's what, you know, makes me feel fulfilled. But I don't have to do it every day. Even just on Saturday, you know, so yesterday, you know, I had to get up early with the boy. You know, he went back to sleep. I got a couple hours of working on stuff out here. Actually, I fixed a fuel leak on the truck, and then we took the truck to a car show later in the day, and I was doing some of the front suspension work on the tube chassis. And then now I've been able to, you know, spend a little time cleaning up the garage. I got help bleeding the brakes on the race car. I didn't even do a video on any of that because it's just like refreshing it and having it prepped and ready to go for next year. But I changed the master cylinder to a 1-inch diameter instead of 1.125", hopefully to get a little more pedal travel and feel out of it. And you know, still waiting on parts for this thing too. Hopefully this will be put back together, and I don't even know if I'm going to do a video on getting everything put back together because it's going to be, you know, similar stuff that I've done videos on before, and hopefully I can just get this one finished up, put all back together, ready to rip for next year, and then put it away for the winter. That way when you know, March rolls around, or April, when some of them early test days and stuff, you know, start coming to be a thing, then the car's ready to go. All I gotta do is pull it out of the trailer. Should also talk about this that's been sitting in the background of all the videos for 6 months now. Oh, I bought a flow bench with the absolute intention of I wanted to do porting videos, and I haven't even had time to get to this because of all of the other projects that have, you know, landed on my plate this year. Oh yeah, we had the 5-speed swap in the Grand Marquis. So yeah, there was a bunch of other stuff. However, I am still planning to get to this, and what I want to do is I want to do how-to porting videos for different cylinder heads, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of good information out there for anybody that's wanting to try. You know, there's a few books here and there. Some of the stuff's way outdated, and what you want to apply to most of those books being written about a old stock small block Chevy casting doesn't apply to newer casting design heads that are much, much better from the factory, as well as once you get into multi-valve stuff. Like, a lot of that stuff goes out the window, but there's a lot of just general ways of thinking that do apply across the board. And if you don't know it, I used to work at Joe Mondello Racing Engines in Crossville, Tennessee after Joe passed away. And he was running the Mondello Technical School down there. Well, after I was down there trying to just get the shop straightened out, because it was being run as a hobby shop and it never made a penny in its life. The school is what made the money. And after a couple of years kind of getting that stuff straightened out and breaking even, we decided to start doing some of the school classes again. So I was teaching a week-long engine building class, and we were teaching week-long cylinder head porting classes. And it seems like a lot of the, well, I say a lot of, there was only a handful of those programs in the whole United States before, and the one I went through was Northwest Tech in Bemidji, and that has since closed down. I think there's only 1 or 2 of them that are still operating. And I'm not sure what kind of quality of education you're getting from either of those. I mean, you're definitely getting the basics and stuff, but like when I went through mine at Northwest Tech, like I probably spent 150 hours of porting and like try something, go to the flow bench, try something, go to the flow bench, try something, go to the flow bench during my second year there. So much so that even though I didn't finish building my complete engine like was the intention of the performance end of the class, I still had way more hours of work in than anybody else in my class. And I continued with that stuff and learning and developing a lot more porting skills along the way at the next job, and then down at Mondello's I learned a lot more because we got into like 5-axis CNC porting and a lot of different techniques and theories about a lot of that stuff, and I'd really like to be able to pass that on. So whether I end up, I don't know if I need to make like another channel and call it something else that's specifically this stuff, or if I'm just going to integrate it in my own channel. The plan is I will get to this eventually. I'd really like to get into some of this stuff more this winter. Right now it's just kind of I need to get this race car put back together. I'm still waiting on parts and getting the block back from the machine shop. But as soon as this put together and put away for the winter, I got floor space opened up where hopefully we can get going a little more on the tube chassis as I have funds to do that. This is a way less expensive endeavor to be able to be working on the cylinder head stuff. And I've got a 350 Oldsmobile sitting here with cylinder heads that I bought for basically what the intake's worth. So I'll be able to show going through some of those heads, but I know that's definitely not going to be the most popular video. So if you have or know of somebody that's got just some cylinder heads laying around, I don't even care what they really are. I just know off the top of my head, like probably a 5.3 LS head would probably be a real popular video. Actually, any of the LS heads would probably be popular videos. Maybe some Honda stuff, although if we do a Honda video, it's going to be a fairly technical one, especially because it's really hard to make Hondas better. Looking at UK series. Some of the older stuff, there's definitely things we can do. K-Series is a really hard one. You're more likely to screw it up than you are to make it better with porting. But that would be something that we can get into and show if somebody has a junk K-head laying around that we can play with. And so if you have some of that, get in touch with me. Shoot me a message or whatever. Find me on Facebook. You can find me through Cody Smith Motorsports on Facebook. Or just a message on YouTube. It really doesn't matter. It'd be awesome to kind of just get a small collection of stuff here, because I really don't, and they can be junk heads. I don't need something good. If somebody wants me to port a full set for them, I'd be more than happy to do that. We'll work out a deal on what a price is for that, because that's a significant amount of my time to fully port a set of heads versus if I'm just doing a single port or maybe 2 ports and we're playing around with it, showing it, and we're learning together with the bench and what stuff does. And kind of the big thing is this is not a be-all end-all. I mean, a dyno is a way better tool for that, but it's a lot cheaper to run stuff on a flow bench. And hopefully that's something that I'll be getting into over the winter. I think there's a lot of viewership market for this, at least I hope so, especially if I'm putting the time in, and I've already spent a couple of grand on this flow bench that I haven't used yet. So I'm trying to invest a little bit into some future videos here. That's what I've got going on. It's the plan for the future of this channel, possibly another channel added in, but yeah, we've got plenty of projects. There's still lots of work to do on several of them. For sure, I'm going to be finishing out that tube chassis. I'm just trying to kind of decide whether that's something where I keep releasing videos as I do them, or if maybe, I feel like at some point I'm going to have to just start stockpiling those, because then it might be cool to just kind of fire them out, weekly kind of a thing. If I've got 20, 30 videos all the way up until it's finished kind of a thing that can just come out, all in a go, and try to build a little bit of viewership like that. But I don't know. I don't have the time or even want to put in the effort to try to play the YouTube games about how the algorithm works. Like, I'm just here doing my stuff. If people think it's cool, awesome, because I think it's cool. And, maybe it's not for everybody, but I'm enjoying that. And when it really comes down to it, these videos are for me. Because, when I get old and can't hardly work on anything anymore, I can pull these things up and watch the videos about all the cool stuff I did back in the day, kind of a thing. And a little bit of a just a nice thing to sit down and edit a video and just relax for an evening kind of a thing, do something different. Because to do 24/7 working on cars or doing something else, like, just, it's too much. I like a little variety. And if you haven't noticed, I like a little variety in what I'm doing for builds too, and videos. And at the end of the day, I just hope people enjoy them, and even better if you learn something from them too.